she explained to me she has a problem of the house. She herself and 4 children, they live in 1 bedroom, and the difficulty, the bedroom, kitchen, and the toilet. The children, they have difficulty to live there because they don't have space to eat, and also they don't have any sitting room. The condition of the house also is very bad, she said, because it's the heater is all time is hot, and the central heating, and she don't know where to off and on. Because she is new to this country, she is asylum seeker, refugee from Somalia, and that is she said also the children, they have some effect for the healthy, because every week I take one of them to the GB to get some medicine, especially the GB, he give us the cough medicine like antibiotic, but I don't know how that antibiotic also affected my children's health, and no one for the council to visit for her, but she wanted to the Somali interpreter and showed where she live, and they come and they look it, and they inform some of the officers, but up to now no one can come and look it, and they say we can do anything. For that is the condition she mentioned for us.
Mostly they're asylum seekers who've come to this country, made an application, and it's been refused. And then when they lose the case, they then lose all access to National Asylum Seekers Support Services. So they're then reliant on friends and family and communities while they go through the appeal process. They're then often homeless for a very long time, and after 6 months or a year they usually run out of friends or family to stay with, and they end up sleeping rough, sleeping in churches, sleeping in mosques, or occasionally ending up in hostels. But since they're not eligible for any kind of public support, they are effectively people that are driven away from society. The only access they have to public services are if they have a severe accident or if they require urgent health care. Then they end up at the casualty unit in the hospital and often end up mentally ill as a result of their experience. What we're doing to people is, quite frankly, brutal.
There's no provision for people who don't have a borough connection, and only people who work in housing are aware of that. So a lot of people will come to London or another major city, and it's at that point they'll find out that actually it's very difficult to find accommodation. They might find themselves sleeping rough.
When I come in this country, I'm facing very problem to get a place to live, myself and my family. So because we have beginning is problem for the status from home office, so because everything is connected to that situation. So we start to move to North Kilburn, we go to Victoria, so we move to East London, to Stratford area, we go to Manor House, and finally we are living in Hackney. So it's a long process because everything was connected to the paper, and until now we are still bidding. Just some special bidding. You have computer, you have your mobile, you need to put something there every week. So and take the in the system there, in the housing system, they check the possibility to you to get a council flat. So it's a big issue. And just briefly, that's my situation. We have getting nice school in the North London. So straight away when the housing move us to East, so everything will become again in trouble, for them. So we came here and we restart again the process. So after 2 years again, move to another area. So they are not stable. So there's some instability due to the housing, to the homeless condition.
My experience living in Afghanistan, when I was a child, I had good experience. Afterwards, I had very bad experience. They forced me to leave my country, and basically I don't want to go back to that far in Afghanistan because I'm trying to forget it. I don't have any good memory over there. Lost my mother. Basically, we split with my family. We don't know about my dad, but my brother's in Italy. I don't know about my sister where she is, but I'm here. My journey from Afghanistan to here takes about 2 months. We've been to lorry, container. We sleep in jungle, without food, without any water. A bit water, a bit food, just to be alive. You're not gonna die. And then basically the worst time of my life. When I arrived in this country, we are underneath of the lorry. When the lorry stop, get off, and I see the police is there and they talk to us, take us, they say, and welcome to United Kingdom. We didn't know this here is United Kingdom, because basically when we leave our country, basically on the middle of the way, we're around 20-25 people, and bit by bit, basically we're split it by 2, by 1. We don't know which one is going where, Basically, we don't have any clue where we're going. And then, fortunately, we find out we are in United Kingdom. The police catch us and then get us, go to the police station, and then from home office, a few persons coming up and then take our details. My first live in this country, our ism was in Brixton, in hostel. I was there for 3 to 4 weeks. After that, give me a house and share basically with other people. This separate room. In Kent, till be 18. When I was 18, basically, I found a flat for myself.
Gradually removed from the principle of the welfare state those people whose immigration status is not settled. I remember very clearly 1986 Social Security Bill, when it was going through Parliament. I was on the committee dealing with the bill. The then Social Security Minister, John Major, said that he thought that benefits to asylum seekers should be reduced from 100 to 90% of everybody else's. And I questioned this and I said, why? And he said, because we don't want to create an incentive. Once they'd breached that principle of universality of benefits, they then went down to 0.
I think there's a gap in the system. That's, I think, the main reason there's that homelessness. It's almost as though if you're a refugee, you have to become homeless.
I'm originally from Uganda, and I've been working and doing everything, and I became homeless, and I approached the homeless unit for housing assistance. And because I was working, I was made to pay about £350 a week in rent. Even though I had a priority need, after almost 18 months, they decided my case, and they found me to be intentionally homeless. And they told me that they would make that decision within 30 days. And every time I send them email, phone them, nobody ever got back to me. And when I get through to somebody, they'll tell me, okay, Ms. Leica, your case is very complex. We are still collating information from other places that you've lived. Because I care for my 73-year-old mother, and I also have a son who was only like 1 year and 3 months at the time. So anyway, living in the hostel, when I came, like, the accommodation was just a bed set. You know, my mother and myself and the baby has to sleep on, my baby and I, a son, had to sleep in one bed. And my mother sleeps in the kitchen area, and the place was really not conducive for any disabled person. My mother was like wheelchair, on a wheelchair, and every time I go out to work, I fear for her. I wrote to the director of housing, to come for a meeting with us. They turned me down and say, okay, I'm being disruptive in the hostel. So and I said, okay, if we're not getting anywhere, because every resident that I speak to in the hostel was having the same problem. Some people have no boilers for like 2 years. They have to boil their water locally, and some of them scald themselves as a result of that. So management was not taking any responsibility for the condition that we were living in. And so anyway, I contacted LCAP you know. And I asked the women, I say, okay, what we have to do is we have to go to the town hall. We have to march here with our children and go to the town hall and talk to them and, you know, explain to them what we are going through, because we are not getting anywhere from the managers and we are not getting anywhere from the directors, because the law has to say, you know, the law said that they have to make a decision within 30 days, and they cannot put us here for longer than necessary, which was 2 years, some people up to 3 years in a small accommodation.
In a country where you don't understand the language, you don't understand the culture, you've been persecuted in your own country, so there are issues of trust as well. So there needs to be, I think, some sort of solid system where you're almost picked up. So there's an agency who is there to pick you up, give you the information, provide that interim housing.
I think the question is, at what point should the NAS funding stop? Because if somebody applies for asylum and it's rejected, and they then exercise their full appeal rights all the way through to the appeal tribunal, then I think they should be given appropriate support during that period, including the right to work. Because what we do have is this ridiculous situation where skilled and able people are not only denied access to healthcare or housing, they're also denied access to employment and thus to pay taxes and national insurance contributions.
In the near future, I would like to go to university and study engineering and hopefully get a good job and start my own family. But at the moment, I find it hard to find somewhere to study. I can't really invite people over to my house to visit me. I think you could stop homelessness by providing people with jobs so that they would not need to rely on the state for help, so that they could, you know, pay for their own way.
I think it ill behoves us to talk about human rights and inclusion in our society, and indeed in other societies around the world, when we knowingly make people homeless, make them sleep on the streets, and make them live in terrible poverty.